All right, so this first video is all about accepting and receiving offers. So you might think that this should only relate to the advice that you would be getting from your real estate agent. But as an attorney, we have a lot of thoughts on the way that offers are presented and what might happen to those offers during the attorney review process. So they actually are quite related, and it's important to get an idea of what you can expect and what you might see in certain offers that you'll be receiving from buyers. So we did just go through over the last couple of years since COVID started a pretty crazy seller's market. And sellers were seeing things all over the map, like buyers offering some months at their timeshares as part of their offer. They were also offering for sellers to remain in the home post closing. And so we are still seeing some remnants of these things, especially as different areas of New Jersey remain hot markets. So, the purpose of this video is to kind of explain where you will see these special things coming forward in the offer package that you receive. Also, I will be going over the types of things that you should be on the lookout for and how those things might change during the attorney review process. So this video definitely leads into attorney review, and we'll touch upon that, but there's a whole other video on attorney review by itself. So the way the offers are presented generally is the buyer's agent will be taking a realtor prepared contract, and they will be filling out that contract with certain specific information. The major things that you'll see in there are the purchase price that the buyer's offering, the deposit amount, the type of mortgage that they're getting, and the mortgage amount. They'll also be adding a hypothetical closing date that they think that they can honor. They will also add in any special considerations all the way at the end of the contract in a special paragraph, which is number 43 in the realtor prepared contract. In that section, there's just blank lines where the realtors can basically write in whatever special things the buyers want to present to the seller. This is where the realtor will basically do their best to take what the buyers are offering and write it in a way that puts their buyers in the best position, and also provides clarity on what the buyer's actually offering. And that place is where you will see buyers saying things like buyers are flexible on closing, or the buyers are offering to waive a certain amount of dollars towards their inspection contingency, or the buyers are waiving a certain amount of dollars towards their appraisal contingency. So, really evaluating these types of offers, if you have multiple offers in front of you with your agent and your attorney, are really important, because sometimes the way that those provisions are written are not always what is intended. Also, they may raise questions that you might not know you would otherwise have without your professional's help. So, if you see that that paragraph 43 has a lot of verbiage, we highly recommend that you contact your lawyer and contact your agent to, as a team, evaluate what those things are and work through getting down to the bottom of what those things are that the buyers are offering, so that when you go into attorney review, you don't have to worry about those things changing drastically. So it's really important to loop in your professionals to that part of the process. Now, the way that the provisions might change during attorney review is if the buyers did not discuss what they were offering with their lawyer, they may not fully understand what they're offering, which is why attorney review actually exists. So once they meet with their lawyer and they go over the things that they offered, their lawyer will likely ask them a series of questions that will help them determine if what the buyers offered can actually remain as it is, or if it needs to be tweaked in any way. Sometimes the things that change are the closing date, or the items in paragraph 43 that I mentioned. Typically, the things that won't change, and 99.9% of the time they don't, is the deposit amount and the purchase price. Those are the types of things that when the buyer's making the offer, they're not really up for grabs in terms of what can change during the attorney review process. The buyer made their offer, the dollar amount is what they made. Typically, talking to their lawyer doesn't make them have to change that number. So that's one thing that you can definitely hang your hat on, which is nice to know in this process, that you can hang your hat on something. So really, the offer and acceptance phase is an opportunity to really grasp the basic bare bones offer that the buyer is presenting. And then when you are ready to actually accept, what happens? So what you will likely do is you will sign that contract that the realtor presented to you with the buyer's terms. The buyer probably already signed that document. And when you sign it, that is a trigger for attorney review to start getting started. So essentially, if the buyer signed it and then you sign it, so if it's fully executed, which means both parties have signed it, that is when attorney review needs to get started. So as you can see, having your attorney ready to go before attorney review is ready to begin, or before you accept that offer, is definitely going to give you a leg up on your ability to manage this transaction process with less stress and more guidance. So typically, the way that it normally works, if you don't have an attorney yet, is that the offer will get accepted, or you'll be ready to accept the offer, and your agent will tell you, all right, well, now it's time to find a lawyer. And I'm sorry, but you only have 3 days to do that. So we know that our clients feel so much better when they have time to find us earlier. But if you didn't, you still have 3 days to find a lawyer to go through the attorney review process. So just a little tidbit to kind of lead us into that attorney review video is that once that offer is fully executed, attorney review must begin within 3 days of that contract being fully executed. And when I say 3 days, I mean 3 business days. If something happens where you need more time, typically you can get an extension. But the rule is that if you don't start attorney review within 3 days, that contract that you signed becomes binding. And that contract that you signed doesn't have a lot of terms in it that are favorable to you or the buyer. It's written by the realtors, the New Jersey Association of Realtors, and it is okay, but if something happens in the transaction that you need to use that contract to support you in your rights and your responsibilities, it doesn't really fare well. And there's some things in there that definitely for a seller need to change. So I'm going to pause here and let you know that now would be the time to take a little break, and then we will pick up the discussion in the attorney review video, because that's where we're headed. So I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.